call sign.
So hop in a hat company to a t-shirt company, let someone get there that day they couldn't get there. Have you guys thought of that model?
We have not thought of that model, but it is absolutely feasible to do because everything inside is modular, so you can do that and apply it to multiple different things.
Are you more interested in selling these I'll call it onesie twosie to mom and pop guys, or are we going to sell 50 to 100 of the pops at Coke and Pepsi and Frito, and where's your head at?
Right, so it's the latter of what you said. We're focusing on medium to large companies. We define medium to large companies as companies that make annual sales of at least $10 million or greater. Movebox, one of our competitors on the higher end, actually focuses on small businesses, mom and pop shops. That's really their niche. We're not looking to be them, and we feel that it's easier to reach that market of medium to large companies that want to have a presence and have that intimate experience, and they also have the capital to do that.
And then are you going to get into the distribution? You're going to be part of the distribution, or are you just going to sell it to them?
I don't think I understand your question.
In other words, if I'm a larger company, then I may have bought these, but I don't want them sitting in some parking lot that I have to manage. You're going to handle the distribution.
Absolutely, that's one of the full services that we offer. Keep storing them. You can actually stack these 8 high. They're actually like Legos. They join at the corners. You can stack them in. So since you can stack them up 8 high, you're not really using that much real estate.
Did say that they would pay for an app that gives them all those benefits in life. Now, let's look at some of the people who would use something like this. Yeah, you know, cheap throwaway answer is everybody. Let's get past that part. I mean, everyone who really needs to do all these things, I do. But let's get to the more important things. Beyond the people who say, oh, I need that. How about the people who really need that? Like the visually impaired, folks who have trouble seeing these things. That could be either because literally they're nearsighted, or because they have trouble seeing, or people who have been injured in accidents. Both brain and spine injuries will cause lack of or lapse of memory short term. People who are in physical rehabilitation. This is actually, putting the kidding aside, a very useful product for those folks. We do have competitors, because we understand that it's impossible to say you don't have competitors, so we do. And we found out that these guys are the top 3. But there's some really good news. First of all, having competitors means that it's a viable market, because other people agree with us that this is something that needs to be done. The benefit we have is, I'll go into that part, the benefit that we have is this is not a GPS-based solution. It does use GPS, but it uses much more detailed information, such as cell phone timing technology, the distance from towers, and it also uses the same technology within your smartphones that show you how to get around. Next. App. Okay. For application money, we are selling this app, but there are also some features which give us a revenue model for advanced features in the product. And quickly getting through. Next. Okay. Well, anyway, it looks like we're out of time.
So I definitely think I can relate, like most people, to the needs, at least, of what you have. For the collection of data, for example, like where the bathrooms are, is that something that you're doing kind of crowdsourced information of bathrooms, or how are you collecting where the bathrooms are in all the parking lots?
What I didn't really get a chance to say, yeah, it's actually very simple. It's an app that you can mark, much like if you just have your phone with you, which most people do, you're being led through the office. You say, oh, here's the restroom. I don't remember that.
So you're not aggregating the data. You're just collecting kind of people marking.
Yeah, it's a location by location thing. It's just when you see something you need to remember how to get back to, you just quickly mark it, and it ends up ending up on a menu.
And how do you think of it that way, of how you're different than like a foot traffic version of Waze?
Well, this works within buildings. So this doesn't rely on radio signals. I mean, it's a backup system, but we operate at the pedestrian level, which is very accurate. It's within 6 inches. So it literally can say, you got to go down those stairs, you got to make a right, you got to go through this hallway. So it's not a navigational system for cars. It's much more specific to location.
The pricing that you said there, $6 a month, sounds high to me.
Yeah,
And maybe you could like address that, but also the competitors that you mentioned, are those free apps or those 99-cent apps? What are those?
Well, those vary in price. Actually, our pricing structure is $1. But the thing is there's advanced features. So for example, for the health conscious, if you want to actually get your data back, like how far have I walked last month? How many calories am I working off? We give people the opportunity to have that information saved for them. Most people are like, I don't care, which is fine. But if you want to have metrics on how far you've traveled, then how many calories you worked off, or let's say you want to find a child or something like that. I mean, it can be linked to other devices. So those advanced features for tracking are available for the $6.
And a safety feature, if you follow that and you backtrack it, you get lost and you're gone and your family's concerned, they can log on and see where you were. They say, he was in that vicinity, there's his trail.
How about that for the NSA?
That's part of the
How do you guys plan on acquiring those app users?
We're going to do keyword searches for Facebook and Google searches. So for people who are looking to, if they talk about offices or losing, hey, I wasn't able to find my car, things like that. There are some keywords that you can purchase on those two, Facebook and Google, that will cause our ad to appear. We want to have the shortest distance between when people see our ad and the ability to add it to their smartphone. So all of the promotion is online.
And last, is this a freemium model that goes to a paid app, or do I have to pay before I even get to use it?
Yeah, you have to pay before you use it, but it's 99 cents.
So just going back to how you can use it again, so if you parked your car in the mall parking lot and you're never sure about where you parked your car, you can mark it,
Yeah,
and then you can find it.
right. You just open the app when you're at your car, hit the car icon, and that's it. You don't have to do anything else. And if you can find your own way back, that's great. But if you, if you're like, wow, I did all this shopping, you did a family circus route, to get away from your car, you can always hit the car button and say this way, that way, and such.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the judges?
Yeah, I have one more. You guys put up 3 competitors.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with those apps. Are they all pay to play, or is it freemium to play? How do you guys compete with those 3 players?
From a cost standpoint, it's very comparable, but there are low-cost apps also, but it's the resolution. They rely on GPS technology, whereas we have 3 different sources.
No, I get your value prop. I totally understand that. I just want to know those 3 apps. Do I download them for free and then have to pay, or do I have to pay before I can get behind the door?
You download them for free, and they do offer that premium, and it's the lowest one I found was $6.99, but I found the big guys, the really big companies, it's just been out like 3 years, they are $13.
Great, thank you.
By the way, this is our strategic team right here. Bob Bain, the Vice President of No. Every good team has got to have somebody that says, absolutely not. You've got to bring your heels back down to earth, because if you don't have that, you're surrounding yourself by yes men. You do not want that. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael and I'm a very scared and expecting father. This weekend we built Smilestones to make parenting chores and baby milestones fun. Here's a quick video about the problem that we're solving. So to summarize, Smilestones allows you to earn points for those dirty chores, compete against your spouse and your friends, and redeem those points for rewards and discounts. Here's a look at our app, which Felix built in the last 48 hours. Great job. So we've limited to just the 6 most important activities that you'll be focusing on in the first month, and this actually changes over time as your baby develops. So you can go ahead and you can say diaper change. You can see I get 25 points for doing a diaper change. Go ahead and say, did it? See it's logged at the bottom. And then you can go ahead and check out your profile and look. I have 525 points. If you look at the bottom, I am a diaper king because I changed 10 diapers today. Okay, you can actually go in and you can share that. You can brag it on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you think people need to know about that. You can go to your leaderboard and you can see how you're doing against your spouse or against your friends, and you can brag about it to them too. So we didn't have this exact idea when we started this weekend. This is what we thought. We thought that we wanted to make parenting fun. We wanted to really educate parents about baby milestones. And we wanted to target all parents because we thought, we know we're going to make something awesome that everybody's going to want. But we actually went out and talked to people. It wasn't fully true. So we did 30 in-person interviews at the mall across the street. We did online surveys. And here's a few things that people said. Points are a great motivator to push yourself. They like that gamification that we're bringing in. But they did say, I want it simple. I don't want to learn what I could read in a book. And finally, they said this is way better for young stay-at-home parents who are online all the time with their kids. So we had a new focus. Stick with the parenting fun, get rid of the education angle. Education's a side effect. And focus on the millennials, the stay-at-homes, and those first-time parents. So our competition right now is really the textbooks that are out there. There's tons of information, but it's dull, it's boring, and guess what? All the apps that people have made, they're dull and boring too, because they're basically just virtual textbooks with some text entry that you can add to it. So if you look at where we stand on the matrix, we are fun, we are simple to use, and the textbooks and the parenting apps are complicated. They try and squeeze it all into one thing that just doesn't work, and it's boring in the way they've laid it out. How do we make money? So the app has a free light version. That's mostly what you saw there. We're also going to have a paid subscription, so as soon as you want to incorporate photos, audio tags, and create a real memory timeline, you have to pay a $2 subscription for that. There's also a big data play here. We have a really desirable parent segment, and more importantly, we're tracking all the parent behavior and activity. And we believe that children's stores, pediatricians, child care centers, and children's CPG companies are going to be really interested in this audience and the information we have about them. Finally, we have affiliate partnerships. This really comes in with the rewards that we offer for the behavior. So we're actually integrating with Keep Rewards, which you can reward with free products like diapers for reaching certain point levels, and looking at other affiliate programs with restaurants and movies so parents can take a load off when they get the chance. So how big is this? Obviously there are parents everywhere, but we really wanted to target it down to the 1.7 million millennial US stay-at-home first-time parents. And that brings us to a $4.5 million annual revenue opportunity if we're hitting this on all cylinders with those three areas. In terms of marketing and rollout, we've got our website. We know social is important. We've got that video. We're going to do other videos. And we're also focused in the real world in meetups, prenatal classes, etc.
You can certainly gamify most things, just whether or not you actually should. To be on a more serious note, I feel like for most families, this wouldn't be a competition. It's pretty lopsided for most families on who does what. You'd probably use it for a week, and you'd be so far ahead from one person versus the other that you wouldn't use it again. And so I'm not sure the problem that you're solving, I'm not sure I see, in that you almost want it to be lopsided for a lot of families anyways. So it seems funny, but I'm not sure I see the true utility after a week or so.
So that's a great point, and what we do have in the app, maybe I didn't show it, was the ability to also set up groups of friends. So your friends who are parents could actually compete together too. So if it's the stay-at-home group, they can actually compete just as that group, not necessarily against your spouse if it's unfair.
Yeah, no, I think that the data part of it is the most interesting. If you could, I mean, I agree. What was going through my mind was I'm kind of happy this app didn't exist when my kids were really young, because I would have got but kicked by my wife pretty badly. Scorekeeping, but still, I mean, being able to have a track of all the times you're changing diapers and doing all this stuff, I think is useful. But the one question though I had though, which I didn't completely follow, was when you were talking about competition, you talked about textbooks being your competitor. I guess I don't follow it because it seems like this is really being used to kind of just track information as opposed to provide information on how to do stuff. So maybe you could elaborate on that.
Sure, so the education angle is really where the textbooks and the current apps come in, and as you saw, we kind of pivoted more towards the game and the sharing. So it's a great point. In reality, probably some of that competition and sharing is right now happening via Facebook, via meetups and things in an unorganized way. And this could be a way for us to go to those meetups and say, hey, you have your mommy and me group. Here's an app where you can actually organize those groups and do it there. So that's another competitor that I think you touched on.
So my question is, why are you guys going to charge for the app?
So the app is free. Everything you saw there was free. The paid subscription is really the additional features that cost us money to. If we're going to be hosting photos, if we're going to be hosting audio files and videos that go into the timeline of what you've been doing, that's not free, and that's where we thought we could charge. Obviously, that's something we don't know 100%, so we would have to see if $2 would hold, or maybe we couldn't charge, and we'd have to focus on the other revenue streams.
I would agree with the data side, right? I think the data side is the biggest. I mean, I can see Clorox, we just had the 100th anniversary last year. They're looking for cool and innovative ways to handle their 3Ps.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Poop, pee, and puke. So it's a pretty boring company, but that's what they would like. So I would recommend that you completely eliminate a paid model. You can get the data. There are a lot of people that would pay for the data as opposed to the $2 you guys would gain.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Well, I'm not as certain. You'll have to figure it out. The people who are in the baby market, they know where the babies are, and they know where the parents are. And so I don't know how knowing the frequency of pooping is really going to change their model about how they're going to market to a family. But quite frankly, I think this idea of being the competition between the husband and the wife and whatnot, yeah, that's kind of cute, but I think you've got a better opportunity with the obsessive child giver, or child care person who wants to know, okay, how many ounces did I give them at 3 o'clock, how many ounces at 7 o'clock, was it a number 1 or number 2, and how frequently, can you give me a time chart of all that? I still think the app is $1.99, I'm not certain how you have a charge for it, but I think going for the obsessive parent and providing some data analysis so when they go to the pediatrician, they've got some information, that might be a better hook to get people tied in. And the competition is fun, but somebody's going to get their ass whipped, and after a while, they're going to give up.
Another 15
Thank you.
seconds. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
So first and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody that's made this happen. This has been an amazing event, especially the coaches, everyone that volunteered. It's been a ton of fun. We've learned a lot, and I'd love to show you what we've done so far. So I'm Drew Olson. This is Dylan Zakowski. This is Modesto Duran, and we are Deja U. So after doing a great deal of market research, we found that pretty much the biggest pain point for social media users is tracking the content of multiple groups of people across multiple social networks. So for example, Startup Weekend. Everyone here is making really interesting, really cool posts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. However, for me to go find that content, I would have to go to each of your individual accounts and search through your different profiles and try and find what you posted. Also, a week from now, a month from now, when I'm looking back and I'm like, this is a really cool event, what did you guys post about it? I would actually have to go to your account and dig through your more recent content. So it would get buried and almost lost in the clutter of social media. So the solution, Deja U. Deja U is essentially a group chat for social media. What we allow you to do is invite members. Invite any members you want into a group thread, and then we'll link their social accounts to the thread. Then, any content they post on any social network will be aggregated to this thread so I can look at it in one unified platform. And also, so when I'm looking back at an event or at a continuous thread of friends I'm with, I can find that content easily and quickly.
We found that there are currently 180 million smartphone owners in the United States of America. Within that mark, there's 24.8 million smartphone owners between the ages of 18 and 24. Now, that is our target market. We're targeting those individuals because we found that they're the most socially active across multiple social platforms. Now, Drew and I are both seniors in college at Quinnipiac University, and we deal with this pain point on a daily basis. We have all our friends that are constantly posting to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, and we can't find the content that we're actually looking for very easily. We wanted to figure that out and figure out a way, a solution then. So we did some customer validation and found that there's other people that also share this pain point with us. We put out a survey that had over 350 participants within our target market. 89% said they would use the app. Now this is great usage rate and validated. There's a pain point that we're addressing and our solution addresses that pain point.
So Dylan referenced this target market of 18 to 24-year-olds that are socially active. Now, in order to address this target market and really reach them, we developed a 3-phase marketing strategy. Phase number 1, we're going to leverage our resources of still being in college. We are in our target market. This is huge. We can use Quinnipiac University as a launch pad for our app, as well as test the app at the university. Moving forward, we need to expand across the Northeast, hitting other universities of students within our target market. This will build our exposure and really get awareness for Deja U. Then, as we move forward, we can expand this effort nationwide and get campus reps across the country to really build exposure for Deja U and get the word out.
As Drew discussed earlier, there's all this content being created about this amazing startup weekend, but it's spread across all these social networks. What we want to do is we want to bring it into the one app that we showed you earlier, but we want to simplify it even further, one step more down. We're going to give the user the ability to create a digital scrapbook of that experience. What they'll do is they'll have all the content created in the app. They'll drag and drop it in a highly customizable feature with our preset templates. They'll be able to create a scrapbook of that event that will live forever. It'll allow their memories to thrive. Now, we're going to address the question that you guys are all really thinking about. How are we going to make money? We have 2 potential revenue streams. First, ad revenue. We're going to place an advertisement in the bottom right-hand corner of each of those scrapbooks. Now, we're going to partner with brands such as Shutterstock, who are in image business, in the business of preserving your memories. And now, you can create as many pages of this scrapbook as you want. You can toggle through them all. And that's a unique impression every single page you toggle through with that scrapbook and with that advertisement. Next, we're going to have treasure troves of data. We're going to capitalize on that big data. We want to partner with brands who want to create a scrapbook of their entire social presence. What they're going to do is they'll have a scrapbook of Nike or whatever brand it is, and they'll be able to create that scrapbook and they'll be able to promote it to using our big data to the targeted demographic that we've already preset for them. Now, this is going to be highly valuable, and we'll be, through data analytics, we'll be able to show the ROI that they'll get on the scrapbook and the click-through rates that they'll get on each individual post that we put in the scrapbook.
So what have we done thus far? We've actually created a website, we've validated our customers, and I'd love to show you right now that we've actually created a prototype for the app that we're pulling up for you right here.
So we're going to show it on a web-based portal because we can't show everybody with a smartphone. So what we're going to have is you'll have a friends list where you can see all your friends that you follow, and you can individually click into Facebook to see all their content that's created on each individual social network. You can also follow businesses and brands that are on the bottom. So this is clicking into my individual Twitter feed. Now you can see all the tweets that I posted this entire weekend about Stanford and about what we've done, about what we've accomplished since we've been here.
I just want to clarify to see if you can do what I'm thinking you can do. So if, for example, I got married 2 years ago, if I had everyone at my wedding posting the photos that they were taking into a scrapbook, I could collect all the photos all of them were taking and posting?
Yeah, so they'd be posting to the thread, and so everyone would link their social accounts, whatever social account they wanted, to the thread, and then you can aggregate it and bring it to the scrapbook.
Can you show me where the thread is and how it's being created?
So this is a mock-up of our thread. As you can see here, you can choose any kind of group you want. For example, you have graduation, an ongoing thread for me with Quinnipiac, my friends from school. So I guess the best way, wedding at the bottom too. The best way to put it for me is graduation. So I would link all my roommates up on our accounts, and any post during that time period that I set for graduation, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, will be aggregated into this one feed, which you can probably show them within a feed, which will look just like this. So chronologically played out, bit by bit, whoever posted whatever it is on any social network would be saved in this one thread. Now I have the mobile version on my phone, but to make it visually, aesthetically pleasing, we can turn it into a scrapbook. Now that scrapbook is a one-stop shop for everything that happened in graduation. For this example, spring break in Cancun. In 10 years, we can say, pull up the scrapbook and see it all in one spot.
So are your time-based, it's knowing over the next 2 hours or day that those things will be aggregated and then eventually it stops sending stuff to the same scrapbook?
So there's multiple options. You can have a continuous thread with, me and Dylan had a thread going continuously. I can stay updated on him just to see what he's up to in his life and social media. Or I can do an event thread, which is time-based. So I would say graduation is from Saturday at noon until Sunday at midnight, and then everything during that time period we aggregated.
Last part question for me. So how do you control, like if I help those people at my wedding and everything that they're taking is, but then occasionally my friend is tweeting about a totally irrelevant thing at my wedding. I don't want that to be aggregated even though I have them connected to the thread.
So automatically it would be aggregated, but that user would have the ability to choose not to aggregate portions. So it would be like a running feed. This is the content that you've created that will be aggregated to this. You can just hit the delete button and have that not go to it. Or the admin of it, so it's your wedding, you're the admin of that thread. You can just delete the post out of it that you don't want to be in there.
How long will it take you guys to build this, and which social media networks do you feel you cannot get? Have you done any research on their APIs?
Yeah, we have. So you're looking at our extremely talented programmer right here, and who's built the prototype you saw right there in a matter of 2 days. He could probably build it in the next couple of weeks. He could have very running prototype in the app building ready for beta testing. And we've done some research on most of the APIs, and we can aggregate the content from every API that we've looked at so far into our thread. We can't post out from our thread. So it's all privatized, but the content would be aggregated. So if you're sharing within the thread, it would be just to the people that are in that thread.
And just to add on to the end of that, we're not looking to post outward. It's not even that we can. We're in the business of bringing it in and saving your memories in one spot. We're not really looking to have any outbound content.
So going back to pricing though, so there's no cost for the threading, but there is a cost to create the digital scrapbook? Is that how you know?
Our app is entirely free to the user, whether you're creating scrapbook or a thread. We would be bringing on revenue via our advertisements, as well as promoting scrapbooks for businesses, so they can really get their entire brand out there.
But the scrapbook is optional, right?
Yeah, the scrapbook is optional, but we figure it's a more visually and aesthetically pleasing. You kind of want to do it. Yeah. You don't want to have to.
Any other questions for the judges? All right. Thanks, guys.
Hi everyone. So for this weekend, I did an idea that I've been thinking about for a while. It's called We Create, and it's the #1 site for music producers to collaborate. So the summary of my website is, our website is WeCreateMusic.co is a unique online destination where music creators can share and collaborate on their creations. It's also a community for passionate and digital music makers. They can upload their digitally recorded song elements or tracks, and then invite other people to work on them. So it's almost like a Facebook post. They post their original track, and then under that, other musicians will comment with their own music under that. And then from there, other people on the website who are members will rank each post as if they like or dislike this post. And the last thing is also there'll be real-time updates on the rankings and the current collaborations that are happening on the site at that very moment. So our current situation is that millions of music creators have no easy way to collaborate with people all over the world. So there's many talented producers out there, but a lot of them are isolated because they're either they just don't know how to get out there to people, or they really just are being afraid of being judged by their peers. So what they can do on this website is upload their music and have a creative outlet to promote the creative outlet to promote themselves, and also to promote online collaboration. So these are the to die for elements of my website, our website. And our 3 revenue streams are member subscriptions. We're gonna have a freemium model. We're gonna have sales of sponsorships and advertising on the website, as well as ancillary sales, which are merchandise and courses that will be available on the website for beginners. We have user-generated content. Our website will be made up of mostly millennials, and they will be inherently social, so they're more likely to tell people about this idea because they're on the computer a lot more than a different generation. And our 3 revenue streams as well is this will also be made into a game. So the more you collaborate, the more points you get, and the higher ranking you get on our site.
Hi, I'm Dave Fales, and the market opportunity we think is significant here. We're taking a look at people who are music creators that want to collaborate on their song creations. The target audience is music creators who are into digital recording. They're enthusiasts. The demographics in the age 13 to 30 area, as we indicated, millennials, primarily male, that doesn't really matter. The target market, we estimate that the number of people who have DAW software, that is the software that's used to create music on your computer, whether you've input it from an instrument or generated it off the computer, appears to be at least 10 million users installed base right now. So the idea of creating music digitally is very popular. And the audience needs a better way to collaborate, and we want to show you how it works.
Okay, so we built our talented programmer built a demo over the weekend. And so this would be our homepage. You have an email to sign up, you log in. Okay, so this is your the main page. Actually, no, this is your profile page. Sorry, you have your own profile. You upload your best tracks, and they can be liked or disliked. These are the MP3s. They're shown in waveform. You go to the main page. You view all the tracks. These are the ones that are being uploaded to this site, and then you can collaborate. Then click here to collaborate. This is the collaboration page. So there's no collaborations right now, but he's going to upload a track for a demonstration. And there it's successfully uploaded. And so this is how it works. And then, okay, so we go back to the part. Okay. So lost the mouse there. Okay. The mouse is lost. Okay. So the problems that we face right now is that there's really only a few outlets out there for people to get their music out. SoundCloud is one of them. They don't allow users to collaborate. There are competitors out there, but they don't do it the way we do it because they either rely on other services like Dropbox to share music. There's also other brand-specific sites like Chord that allow their users to collaborate, but it's only between Chord users. We're going to allow this for everyone who has a DAW.
Okay, this may partly address part of the question, but that I was going to ask. But my question had to do with just marketing strategy, building awareness for this. Obviously, it's the whole music creation space is a pretty crowded space. So how are you going to break through the clutter and build awareness?
Well, I've been a music producer for the past 7 years. I have a pretty good following on YouTube as well as SoundCloud, and I have a big network of people I can reach out to. I've been talking with them about this idea for the past over a year, and we thought about how to get it out there, spread the word. I also know someone who's a developer. He works with platinum selling rap artists, and he's also a developer, so he's going to help me when I get to the next stage.
So on your list there,
marketing budget, yeah.
On your competitive list there, you don't have a company called Endava. Are you familiar with Endava?
Yeah.
So everything you described sounds like it's exactly what Endava does. Why isn't it on the list, and how are you different?
It's supposed to be on the list, and sorry about that. But Endava is more towards like live instrumentation. We're focusing on the people who create beats on their laptops. So people who started off maybe with production, not more with like a live instrumentation in the background. Also, Endava is more meant for like to connect with people who are like higher up in the music industry. We're trying to get people to work together that are on the same level.
How do you guys monetize this?
I said we have a freemium model, and from there we also have sponsorships and advertising, and sales of merchandise, and also courses for beginners who want to learn how to create music on their computers.
And what's the technology that you're going to use to protect the music from being taken or used
Right,
by
so,
others?
right, so what people are uploading is actually unfinished music, so that's one thing. The other thing is that anytime in the music industry, when you want to get your music out there, you're always running the risk of getting it stolen. So I know that firsthand experience. So yeah, when I want to get my music out there, I'm not worried about who's going to take it, I'm worried about who's going to hear it and how it's going to get out there.
It's one thing when you talk about putting your music out there with the full song, I get that part, right? But a very good friend of mine is a platinum selling producer. He does beats, he works with guys all around the world, and he would not use that answer, right? So you steal his music, that would be detrimental to his livelihood. How would you guys technologically protect me uploading my content? People can go out, I like the concept, but how do you protect me from the fear of me putting my unfinished music, my beats up there, and how it's going to be taken?
I think in the spirit of Pinterest, where I'm putting up my photographs, people may take those and they may use them. That's a decision that I've made to put my photographs at risk. Our focus is on the enthusiast market, not on the professional market. So to his point, the reward to people is the exposure they're going to get and the collaboration opportunity. It is not it's not a financial play, and if they're worried about people pirating their stuff, then they don't have to come to the website.
Sorry, we could also just do the low quality stuff. You may upload a WAV file, but you could only download an MP3. So you could obviously replay the song from scratch, but it'd be harder to take it into good production state with it.
So just going back to the value proposition here. So for the musician, the creator of the digital music, what's the value proposition for them?
So as a musician myself, I get beat block, which is similar to like writer's block. I need some creative outlet to like just get new inspiration. So this would definitely be something I would use to get me out of those slumps, I think. And see what other people are working on, and also get new sounds, new things to work with.
And do people do it today, try to collaborate at that level?
All the time, yeah.
There's a game part of this where you get X amount of recognition for what you've done in collaboration with other people, so you can get badges and you can become a star.
Any other questions for the judges? All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jesse Honigberg. I'm here with a great team to present Credit Spring. It's really a way that we plan to revolutionize the market of payday lending. Our mission statement is to match any borrower with crowdsourced lenders using big data to contextualize the risk. We're essentially Prosper for payday loans. Who we are. I'm a CIO of a national bank. We have specialists in data mining, payroll finance, programming, marketing, and branding. Really, there was a bit of serendipity that we all came together with this. The unique skill set that we have has really been transformational to the idea. The market opportunity. Payday loans, it's a $42 billion market, $10 billion in revenue. Over 5% of US adults have used it. It's highly fractured. The bottom line, huge, poorly served, and profitable. Our go-to-market strategy. We have a bit of unique skill sets with this group that myself and Ben Wachter have worked closely with a bunch of temporary staffing agencies are very close to it. We have unique insight into the funding model and the data sets and think that it can make for a unique value proposition. The peer funding model uniquely spreads risk. We want to diversify the risk out so that one loan is spread among multiple candidates so that we lower the delinquency rate, and importantly, direct access to the payroll creates a pseudo-security interest. For anyone who understands collateralized lending, it's a unique thing that we think can deliver tremendous value. We want to take you through a couple of value propositions. The first one is for the borrower, and I think this is really important. Payday loans are designed to really screw the borrower, quite frankly. That they're charging exponential interest, as well as they force you to repay very quickly. So it gets you in this vicious loop. What we're really looking to do is enable the data to make a credit decision over a longer timeline. So rather than absorbing 80% of their take-home pay when it's due, we want to spread that out and allow it to be somewhere in the 20% neighborhood and get insight into the data to make that decision. For the lender, We'll go into this a little bit more in Q&A if anyone wants to understand it, but we're projecting, even with a 20% loss rate, which is what the industry average is, a return on investment to the peer lenders of 32%. You know, we're calling it hedge fund-like returns. It's big returns, and the important thing is we think the data gives you this quasi-security interest. Us, we're here to make money as well as help people. We think that with this model, that we can generate a tremendous amount of money. A 1% market penetration would generate approximately $55 million in fee income and the math to get there is 420 million at 131 per million. So there's huge amount of money to be made. I want to spend a couple of seconds here going through the business model, and this is fairly complex and why we gave you guys the decks. That the collateral control stems from the direct deduction from earnings. So as well as getting insight into the income stream, we want to sit right at the payroll provider, which is something that we have unique insight into how it works working for a payroll funder. So by doing this, we think that not only it increases your repayment risk, but the data behind it feeds into a risk model which stands alone. So the risk model, these people likely don't have credit scores, and that's why they're unbanked. We think that the risk model will be able to digest a wider data set to allow us to make stronger credit decisions. More importantly, we want to get people out of our world. That the idea is that we build them into this virtuous cycle so they start to build credit and we eventually graduate them to real unsecured credit lines. We can go through this more, but we went to people that we know in the industry. We had commitments from large payroll funders that they'd be interested in, think it presents a compelling value proposition for their employees. We went to our GC, we went to the head of a payroll software company. They're in it. And in the immortal words of Steve Jobs, one more thing. What's the tab? All right, there we go. So with 37 seconds left, really quickly, this is a working app right now on creditspring.us. You can actually give it a shot. As you change your risk meter, it'll dynamically readjust all of your loan types. And if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see that the tolerance for so go all the way down to the bottom, just to end with, that as you roll down, if we click on 60, it'll dynamically build out your credit, and if we scroll down even more, importantly, it transparently shows you your APR, APR.
So it sounds like one of the things you're trying to do is integrate with the actual payroll provider.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and obviously there's some big fish in that area. Talk about how you expect to tackle that too.
So one of the unique things about this team that came together is the relationships that we have. You know, for the round one, getting off the ground, we actually have direct relationships with, you know, my bank as well as one of the largest temporary staffing software providers in the country that does direct funding and payroll services. So I agree with you, getting into ADP or Paychecks is not something you do on day one, but getting into a beta with, you know, exposure to well over 200,000 temps is something you could do day one.
What is it that you're actually doing that's innovative?
So what we're doing that's innovative, hopefully, is using the data to make a risk decision because we have insight into their payroll history stream. So we can see their likelihood of repayment by seeing, you know, the payroll stream of, you know, weekly deductions or whatever, net income credits. And the other thing that's unique is we're sitting at the payroll processing level to guarantee repayment. Typically what a payday lender will do is they'll ask you for a pre-written check, or you'll actually have to come there 2 weeks later and give your money over. What we're looking to do is say, all right, well, the likelihood of that happening is pretty low, and that's why there's such high delinquency rates, that we think that by sitting directly at the payroll level, we would significantly cut down on the delinquencies.
So let me just make sure I'm on the same page with you guys. Anyone can fund these payday loans?
Yeah.
So it's one thing for a accredited investor or an investor to take risk in the market, right? You play with money, you lose money, win money, there you go. But when the non-traditional funders, right, those retail investors get involved, how can you protect them?
From making a bad decision?
Sure.
I think that one of the things that our GC, when we talked to her, gave us some insight in is to the consumer protection laws on both the lender and on the borrower side, and that there's certain standards that you need to cross and certain thresholds. The idea that we would open this up to general availability is really not a go-to-market strategy. That I think that what we really need to do is understand the data and get a really good handle on the delinquency rates and everything else before we open up to wider availability. And just like Prosper and Lending Club and all these other peer-to-peer services, there's very clear disclosures about what it is and what it isn't, what the expected returns are. There's a very real, chance of loss based on the risk profile that you choose. That being said, there's also a significant advantage to being so close to the payroll and understanding the data at a granular level.
Is there a minimum amount I have to fund as a funder?
Quite honestly, we haven't gotten there. That what we looked at is there's really, it's really very detrimental for the borrowers, realistically. There's a lot of risk in making these loans, and kind of when you look at the rates and everything else, that it may look absurd to say that it's 141% APY, which is, a lot of money that you're charging in interest. But if you were to get that same loan from a payday lender, it would be more like 600% to offset the risk. And that our hope, and really what our belief is that by getting borrowers in this virtuous cycle, that it drives down their cost to borrow, and eventually they just get out of this market and accelerate through it. There's absolutely a huge demand for it, and there's a need for transparency in the marketplace. And what we're really trying to do is, our theory is that the closer you get to the data, the better decisions you make. The thing that we think makes us fairly unique is the skill sets we have and kind of the background knowledge that we bring to the table.
How are you going to acquire customers on both sides of the
That's actually really interesting. So one of the calls that we had up there, and I know we flew through the deck, was I spoke to the head of a large staffing agency in Indiana, right? They have about 15,000 temps. They're ready to put this out there when we have it ready. That they think there's a huge demand for their employees to serve it. For right now, our go-to-market conduit is with temporary staffing agencies that we have existing relationships with. That we don't need to conquer the world. There's a huge market out there, and that our idea is to get our legs underneath us, really understand the risk model, and then there's so many different places this can go, and there's so many good things it could do for the borrowers to get them out of this cycle. One of the ideas we tossed around, if you still have this idea came through its different cycles to where it ended up today, was you can actually allow them to create kind of a pseudo savings account and then collateralize that to reduce their lending. So there's all sorts of interesting things you can do.
That's unfortunately all the time we have.
Put together the company Pisces Market, basically the Amazon.com of aquarium fish. I'm a aquarium hobbyist. It's been a passion of mine. I've been involved with it since I was 7 years old, so I know a lot about it. And really what's happening now in the industry is that mom and pop shops, with us really enthusiastic hobbyists really go to for the fish that we want, are kind of on the decline now because of places like Petco and PetSmart. And they can't compete on the low prices of the supplies, but where they have their competitive advantage is the selection of fish and the quality of it. And so, and online, it's basically the market has not made it online yet. It's decentralized, it's hard to find what you need. So hobbyists like me are left with a little place to go. We try to go online, but it's hard to find the exact species we're looking for. Like, for example, me, when I try to find my fish Nessie, she's a Polypterus mucolembi. But, yeah, there's no common name, so that's, but, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but basically I had to go on a fish forum, ask around where do I find this kind of fish. Someone eventually told me ask Hawaiian on this one website. I have to go to that website, go through this whole list, and go through this whole list and call him up, order it up. He had it, someone caught it in the Congo, shipped it to him in Colorado, and shipped it to me in New Jersey. So, of course, that's ridiculous, and there had to be a better way. So the better way is centralize the fish market online in one place, and hopefully
It'll be more like, it'll end up more like this. So it should be more like that. You should be happy. It should be an easy, clean logistics solution that that brings the sellers and the buyers together. And most people might think this is a small niche kind of hobby, but from numbers from 2011 is worldwide it's $15 billion just ornamental fish, not even coral, plants, invertebrates, amphibians, just the ornamental fish. And it's had an annual growth of around 14% for the past 25 years.
Okay, so we did a market survey. We got a wonderful opportunity to present our survey to the general population and receive a sample. And out of those individuals, 59% of those individuals said that they would use a site like Pisces Market. What's even more wonderful is 60% of those surveyed said that they would refer the site to fish enthusiasts.
And when you ask most hobbyists, they're unsatisfied with the current online industry and would love to be able to find a site where if it's on the internet, it's on this site. And I have connections with Frank, the president of NJAS, the North Jersey Aquarium Society, which is the biggest and oldest aquarium site in the US. And through him, there's key players in the industry that I'll be able to connect with, hopefully get their trust, and through their networks, catch most of the market that's heavily involved with this. Actually, this morning I met with Tony at Fishbowl Pets. It's like 8 minutes away from here. I described the idea to him, told him what it could do for him, like the features, and he absolutely loved it. Like he feels the pain of the bigger stores, and like he was all about it and was really supportive of the idea.
So we're looking to utilize a landing page for marketing, and it will connect us with potential consumers and people who are interested, allowing them to have newsletters and references as well.
And for our revenues, we'll take about 3% of each transaction, and once we get a bigger user base, we'll have 25 cents per post, and we'll also be selling packaging to retailers that don't usually have to package their fish to sell online.
So we look to utilize implement our landing page, and in 3 months we look to utilize implement our live tracker.
Okay, you said current users of online markets are dissatisfied. Why?
Because there's only little sites here and there that only have a handful of fish. And it's really, if you're looking for a unique species, or even one that's not even like just a little uncommon, it's hard to find that one site. So, and you can't, if you can't find your fish, like in the stores now, that there's less of them, and you can't find them online, like you're just not going to find them.
Listen, I'm afraid of exotic fish, but it seems to me that I'm going to be distrusting of a site. Some fish is going to arrive in the delivery 3 days later. I mean, I want to see my fish. Am I going to guarantee the fish is alive? I return the fish. I'm dissatisfied. It turns out it wasn't what I thought. I see all sorts of problems in trading live animals, and that to me would be a barrier to those other sites. Maybe I don't appreciate it.
It's actually quite common. I get a lot of my fish through the mail, and they usually ship it overnight. Most people have a live on arrival guarantee. I've never received a dead fish or even a sick fish. And like it's actually, they have it quite down well. And there's actually bags, special bags that will exchange the gases, and they put cooler packs for warm packs. So it's really not a problem.
So you want to be the eBay of live fish?
Well, the Amazon.com, but yeah.
It seems to me that you have a little bit of a chicken egg, or in this case, I guess fish egg. So So how do you, I mean, obviously for the sellers, they're only interested if you have a critical mass of users, if they're going to take the time to list all their fish. And, you know, it's only interesting for a user, obviously, if there's enough sellers on the other side of the market. So how do you plan to address that?
At first, we'll only take a percentage of each transaction. And when I was talking to Tony, he said it would be, it's not that hard to post the stocks. He already has the stocks on his computer to manage his business. So it's really, it's no lose situation if they post it and nothing happens. So there's no barrier for them to post their stocks, see what happens, and then, you know, we'll just build from there.
So it seems like it should be obvious that we all want to do this. Why do you think it's not really been done before?
While going to club meetings at NJAS, most of the big players are like the older generation, and they've just always done it a certain way, and the industry just hasn't made that move online yet, like most industries have.
Judges, any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Let me introduce our team. This is Chong Tak Tang, Andrew Emerich, Pablo Emerich, and Daryl Demix. My wife, who's a physician, described the doctor's pain point to me, and I decided to tackle the problem. We believe medical data should flow faster and more securely. Doctors and medical staff waste valuable time taking phone calls, sending and receiving faxes, and even waiting for snail mail. Time is money, but in the end, the quality of care suffers because of this inefficiency. The solution, our solution, is DocSure. DocSure will be a mobile app that sends medical data securely through the cloud, but leaves no trace in the cloud, and deletes once it's been viewed on the receiver's end. You will save time, not dealing with faxes and phone calls and snail mail. You'll save money, not repeating tests or procedures that already took place. And you'll improve care, for example, avoiding adverse drug reactions. And here's a demo. We'll go through that's the splash screen on the iPad. This is the homepage, and you see all the data and the way you can choose to sort it. That's in the inbox. And if you click Dr. Plancer, for example, you'll see all the items that you've received. And if you click lab results for Mr. Smith, there it is. And here's a mock-up of the iPhone app. And we've got a lot of interesting stories. Daryl's friend, Dr. Crone, has a 43 physician practice in Westchester. And he said that he estimates 20% of the time of his medical assistants is wasted on just messing with faxes. And my wife's coworker told us that where they came from, the last practice they went to, they received 10,000 faxes per month. And a buddy of mine, his father, who transferred hospitals, had to wait 2 weeks for documents to arrive. This is a number that we got from taking 20% of the time that was wasted by all the medical assistants in the U.S. At an hourly, $15 average hourly rate. And if you just look at 10% of the market, that shows the scale of the inefficiency. So our customers will be private practices, hospitals, dental offices, doctors, medical assistants, and clerical staff. These are our competitors, and they overlap. Tiger Text is it's interesting. They work within hospitals, so they're within the dome of their intranet. Doximity is like Facebook for doctors. Wicker is interesting in that it is HIPAA compliant, but it's basically texting, and it's like, it basically deletes itself right after you see it. It uses military-grade encryption. So our marketing strategy is to get a seed group of practices, send faxes out to their other practices that they're requesting documents from. And on the fax, there'll be a QR code and a website link for download for the app. Thank you, that's Dr.
Can you talk a little bit about the business model, pricing, and those types of things?
The business model will be freemium, and we envision later on some kind of site license of perhaps $25,000 per license. That's, I didn't get the number of practices, but the hospitals, there's about 5,700 hospitals in the U.S.
And are some of those other competitors you listed, or what are their pricing models? Are they freemium also, or?
Yeah, they're freemium with tiered pricing. And we considered that. The value add for us is that it's ephemeral and it can be a one-off. If you want to take a picture of just a certain page, like a bilirubin result, you send it off, you get it, and then it disappears from your phone. You can even take pictures of an EMR of your screen and do the same thing.
How do you actually make sure that it's not there anymore? Because obviously Snapchat, everyone thought it wasn't on your phone anymore, and oops, it is.
Right, that's an interesting thing. Wicker, I know that what they do is you can't even take your thumb off of the phone to take a screenshot, and if you try anything like that, it will delete itself automatically. It sense that. You cannot keep someone from taking another phone and going, oh, I got it. So, that's a challenge in terms of finding the way to prevent people from doing things like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that we, to be HIPAA compliant, we have this ephemeral nature, and it's not much different than a fax sitting on a fax machine in a doctor's office. If the doctor goes home with his device and there's a chance of being lost or stolen, it does come off the device within a given time, and the doctors can set the time that they want to delete. They can also send it to their EMR if they have one, or to some other scanning device if they need that, and so they have the choice to collect it. Unlike Snapchat, which is, I may capture an image from somebody surreptitiously, this is we vet who is on the network, so they're only going one-to-one to someone who's friendly. They're not going to someone who's going to do something nefarious with the images. So where would you guys launch this product?
It would be locally here.
So in the US based?
Yes, US based.
So then my next question would be, you look at those competitors you have, right, of GE, who's tied to most hospital equipment, if you will. How do you guys plan on setting yourself aside from all of the competitors that exist here in the US based?
Well, our first goal is to go with small practices and grow organically, but the tiered pricing that we discussed, and this was an idea we had, was to have a server-side software that would link. So once you have the picture or electronic data that you want to look at, you would print it to paper or send it to an EMR. But what that would do is pair it to your server or your desktop and save it as an image file, usually TIFF in the medical field. And you could then have your medical clerks or IT department upload them after it's vetted that that is who they say it is. That it belongs to that person.
Help me out. I do not understand the value of ephemeral records in making medical decisions.
Well, my wife's goal was to get rid of the fax. And in order to send data over the cloud, you cannot save that data in the cloud without the patient's permission. So it has to go encrypted across. What I like about Wicker is that it's a new key each time you send it. Then when it's on the other phone, it's as if it's sitting on a fax machine, and then you have the ability, 30 minutes basically, or some set of time that we.
I don't think if I'm a doctor, I don't want to be making medical decisions on ephemeral data. If I get the data, I want it in my records.
Right. So you
what's
have
the value of the ephemeral?
No, you have the option to store it locally, either print it or save it to your EMR. So that would be
If I may, so the ephemeral nature is because when you use an enterprise system, you have remote wipe of the device available to you, and that's part of HIPAA compliance. Without being an enterprise solution, we're using the ephemeral nature as a way of acting as if it's a remote wipe.
That's all the time we have. Thanks.
Bullseye.